Good evening, it's Joyful Christian Hermit. Well, here's a spontaneous order of the present moment little video. I had a call from a longtime friend. I think it's been 43 years we've been friends. And she gave me news of a young man that I remember. He's a year younger than my eldest daughter, a year older than the next daughter. And first summer of my being a single mom, moved to this little town in Southern California with my three children. The youngest was barely 2. And my friend, longtime friend, even then, we had known each other for 15 years then, or 14 years. And she introduced me to this woman who had a good friend of hers who had 3 sons, and the youngest was Ben, named Ben. And he was right between my 2 daughters. So I had a 9-year-old daughter, 8-year-old Ben, and 7-year-old daughter. And Ben's mother and I would take turns driving the children to the San Diego Zoo summer program that summer. And Ben, I remember he was just a really solid, mature 8-year-old. A special. I sensed him as a very special young man, a beautiful soul. And I remember, it's just so clear, in the back seat of my car, and the girls there, and then I had the baby in a car seat, toddler in the car seat, and it's just delightful opportunity for my children and to be included, to immediately have contact with someone to play with, someone to get to know their age. We ended up leaving, but it was Ben's mother who sold my house. Sold it the first and only day on the market, because we were in a tough situation with my ex-husband, then ex-husband, that we'd gotten through the divorce. So Ben would have been 13 when we moved back to the Midwest. But I found that my friend kept up off and on through the years. And I heard then that when Ben was about 15 in high school, we had already left, been gone a couple of years or longer. 3 years, I think. And Ben got cancer. So my friend would call and keep me updated. But she hadn't for a while. It's been years, actually. But Ben passed November 2nd and had a beautiful service in early December, second week of December, end of the first week of December 5th, I think it was. And my friend told me about it on the phone when she called today, and Ben had grown up Catholic, but the Jesuit priest who did the service said he was a Buddhist at heart. He was a philosophy major. I'm going to read his obituary. It's beautifully, I looked it up online. It's beautifully written. There's a photo of him. And I had been telling my friend about my desire to write a book or do something to help people after my friend of 29 years from the Midwest had passed so quickly. Really, in the hospital, I think, less than 4 days when she passed, and only knew about it for about 5 weeks or less. 5 weeks, I think it was. So it's help, but she did not want to talk about it. She didn't talk to me at all. Before she passed, I didn't have a chance to talk with her. She didn't want to. She didn't want to say anything about it. Then she couldn't talk. So she could have talked to her grandchildren, the ones that were older, and eased them through, but didn't. And so they're broken up terribly. And her children, the son that I interfaced with, texting, when I realized that she wasn't going to talk to me, we have to accept how people want to go. And we didn't know if maybe she thought she was going to have this last minute miracle. And that would have been quite a miracle because the cancer spread rapidly all through her. Within 3 weeks, it had moved everywhere. From initially just a spot on her lungs, on her pancreas and liver. Within like 3 weeks, it was in her brain, down her spine, just everywhere. Multiple organs. Very aggressive. But her son said, I haven't had a chance to have that kind of conversation with her. And then she couldn't talk. And I think her last day she could make the day before her last day could make a few comments. Her children all got there, 8 children, but Ben chose a different way. And we have to respect how people choose. But death is for everyone. And it's part of our legacy. And I think it's part of our journey, and our love of others is to help prepare them, along with ourselves even, to help others who are going to remain behind. The one who passes, because I had my death, I died, I know. And I can't, and my friend knew, and yet she still didn't want to go there. She didn't want to talk. Wasn't given the idea of dying like a saint. Often they'll have some beautiful statement at the end that they'll make. Words that are legacies and witness to people, giving hope and love and reassuring others that they're going to be okay. We have an opportunity, the greatest opportunity when we die. When we're born, we're crying. We're adorable and whatever, but screaming. We can't talk. It's the mother and father's time, or at least the mother's if the father isn't there at the birth. But so I found this so beautiful, and it's inspirational. Well, my eldest is 48 now. The other one's 46. Ben was 47. My glasses on here. And what a handsome man. So this is it. Ben died at home as he wished. He wanted to die at home. Attended by his family. Marvelously, the magical appearance of a hummingbird and a sudden brief burst of rain witnessed his passing. The date was November 2nd, 2024, All Souls Day. He was 47 years old and left reluctantly. He had fought even. It was his 5th time of the cancer recurring that he fought. Ben loved life. He also deeply, but he wasn't fighting against. He died beautifully. But of course, he was young. He wasn't. He would have stayed had he could have. Um, he also deeply loved his family and his friends. He followed sports intensely and was passionate about his life's work: sustainability, good foods, coffee. Ben waged what should be considered a successful fight against cancer. 32 years he lived and fought and succeeded for 32 years. His diagnosis at age 15, stage 4 metastatic bone cancer at the base of his spine with metastasis to his lung, was considered fatal with short-term life expectancy. And my friend who called me today, we talk maybe once a year or twice a year, she reminded me, and then I was remembering, because back when Ben was 15 and we were in the Midwest, she called as soon as they found out. And of course, I was praying. I got other people to pray back then, but I wasn't kept up with the recurrence. I just knew that he had gone in remission. Miraculous, really, but the doctor initially told Ben that he wasn't going to live, that he would not beat this, that it was serious, and that some things you can't get over. But Ben, at age 15, or maybe he had just turned 16 when he told the doctor, but anyway, I think 15, he told this doctor, "No, I'm going to live. I know I am. I have too much I need to do yet." And he did, 32 years. And these are some of the things Ben accomplished, just briefly. I mean, fill in the blanks. They made it very brief. But my friend elucidated even more that he had done. Ben graduated from this high school in Southern California, small town we lived in, graduated UC Berkeley as a philosophy major. Thus his heart with Buddhism. Buddhism is a philosophy. People mistake it as a religion, but it's technically a philosophy. I have a cousin who's Buddhist. His dad illumined me on that it's not a religion, it's a philosophy. So philosophies can meld with religions very well. Served in the Peace Corps in rural Russia for 2 years, did the Camino de Santiago, walk across northern Spain, started businesses with colleagues in multiple states. He started a coffee business, sustainable foods, different things. He was very innovative and helped friends start businesses in multiple states, as it says here. He traveled the world and recently saw his Dodgers win the World Series. And then it mentions that thankfully Ben returned to live close to his family about 5 years ago, and he is survived by his mother and his 2 brothers and their wives and 3 nephews. A celebration of his life will be held at the historic San Luis Rey Mission Church in Oceanside on December 5th at 1:30 p.m. A reception will follow. And they invited all those who love Ben and were friends of Ben and loved him to come. So, and also included hummingbirds, because they had that sign. He liked hummingbirds. They had that signal as he passed. This was November 2nd. Hummingbirds wouldn't have been automatically around, fluttering around in November 2nd. And one appeared, spontaneously appeared. They said magical appearance. And there was a sudden but brief burst of rain. So that signs of his that he was giving. He was okay. He was free. He had flown free. And I noticed somebody on X had written something. It was back in September. I saw it tonight. I was looking up things about Ben. And it was somebody from his class in school when they were in high school. But now, of course, an adult and a football coach himself, this man. And he was putting out the word in September that Ben had cancer again, that it had come back for the 5th time he was fighting it. Had a photo of Ben in a wheelchair with exercise equipment at a physical therapy place in front of him, ready to go at it. He was so I didn't recognize him in that photo, but asked for prayers for Ben, and people were immediately responding. They were praying, and remembering him from high school. And he was in a football team in high school till he had this diagnosis. It was sudden, but he conquered. He conquered 32 years and had a life, very beautiful, very peaceful person, very insightful, and loved much, loved others, and served. Had a life of service, a very holy life. And the Jesuit priest, commented on aspects of his life and his spirit. I think it was a Jesuit priest, maybe from the Berkeley area, but bright and beautiful. I want to show you there he is. There's Ben. Just as an adult, but before he got the fifth recourse of cancer. So that's, and then he wanted to live at home, and how beautiful. My friend told me how his brothers and their wives and his mother all took care of him. He was at one of his brothers' homes, and they took care of him, and all very beautiful, all very meaningful. Love, love, love. And we have a choice. Even if we pass suddenly, we can plan in advance and write out how we want people to view our passing. Or if we have something happen like Alzheimer's, or some kind of a stroke or an injury where we can no longer speak, if we take time to write in advance, what would we want our last words to be? Our last verbalizations. Write them down. Witness to others. Illuminate. Reassure. If you have grandchildren, write out to what you want them to know about, that you're not fearing death, that it's part of life, or however you feel, whatever you've come to. And try to come to the reality of it is, listen to people. I've already shared my death experience and how glorious it is, how easy it is. Trust us who have died and were sent back, because we experienced it and we know. So it's a beautiful experience. And anyway, I just wanted to share that. Good for Ben. And of course, I wish he could have stayed longer. What a beautiful person. What a great contribution to the world and to others and to his family. But he had valiantly lived and overcame from age 15, imagine, and being told by a doctor. Of course, they're going to be honest. It was a horrific, end stage kind of diagnosis. But God does what he's going to do with us. And Ben knew he needed to live, that he had more to accomplish, and he accomplished from age 15 to age 47. So I wanted to share. It's just so positive and so hopeful and valiant. That's a death of holy triumph right there. I think I have my title. So I thought that was just great, and so thanks for listening to that, and pray for others, pray for other Bens and Bettys or whoever out there, kids with cancer, and whatever determination and whatever God allows. God blessed him with 32 years, but he had relapses and lots of suffering between, but he kept climbing. He's flown now. He's the hummingbird. God bless his real presence in us. Have a beautiful, blessed evening, day, life, thoughts, everything beautiful in God.